Yo, welcome back. I don't know what happened to that last stream just now, but my whole system went out on me. But yeah, I knew that shit was gonna happen, bro.
nuclear weapons. So I don't think he misled you. You might disagree with him, but I couldn't say you couldn't say he misled you. Did not seek congressional authorization. That's both not true and irrelevant because there's reporting out, even from liberal sources, saying that President Trump did brief Speaker Johnson and Majority Leader Thune, but also President Trump does not need congressional authorization. He has the War Powers Act, which allows him to engage in military action for 60 to 90 days. The president is here. He'll be speaking. We'll get his take on it directly.
Nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's number one state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew.
Yo, good morning. Yeah, I I deleted that shit off my console now. I don't like that game. I don't know. I try to play something different other than like the shit I always play, but it's like no. It seems very slow. I can see how some people can find appeal in games like that, but I don't think I can play something like that. I like I like more narrative, story-driven games. I don't know. All the simulation games, I've never been able to like get in deep with a simulation game. So I tried. There's one called Cityscape or something where you build just cities. I could never get good at, and that's the one I tried the most because it looks really cool. But I could never get my city to function right or run right. Like that shit, everything always burned in disaster. So I'm like, I can't fucking play this shit. And then I tried, well, the classic one is Sims. I could never really get into the Sims video game for some reason. Like my Sim would just always be hungry and tired all the time. And then I had the Jurassic Park simulator where you got to go capture dinosaurs and build like their inhabitants for them, or like the perfect conditions while they're in the enclosures. And it was like I couldn't even do that. So I don't know. I be giving up on these simulation games. You know, that one was trying to build a whole civilization, and it's like, man, no, thank you. I tried it. I tried it twice, and it's just like, even after listening to some people, some YouTubers give like tips and pointers, I'm like, I don't think so. I just like more narrative, story-driven games, plot build up, and um, character building. Those turn-based strategy games seem like, I don't know, they just really can't ever hold my attention long enough. It was a free game, I gave it a shot. I don't feel like I lost out on anything because I didn't have to pay for it. It's not like now if I paid for that game, oh, I would fucking play that shit until I mastered that motherfucker. But that's why I don't. That's another reason I don't even buy games like that. I'm not gonna buy all the games that I named. Like it's when they give it to us free on PlayStation. I'll try any game for free. Even like my homie was trying to get me to play Ark Survival, and it's kind of like a world building game. You gotta find like resources, and you gotta build your shelters and make your clothes, and then you gotta tame like wild animals. And man, just because I like playing games with my homie, yeah, I played it with him like 3 or 4 times, like for at least an hour or so a piece. And like every time that shit was just not fun. And the last time I played, I had to just tell him like, bro, this shit not fun to me, man. I don't see how you like this fucking game. I do want us to find a game that we can play together again, man, and so we can just chat and bust it up on the consoles and stuff. But you gotta find something funner than this, man. This shit right here is just tedious and it's boring. I don't know. It feels boring to me. That civilization that is called humankind. I think it just looks so cool. It's like, oh wow, you get to go from the Neolithic age through the Stone Age, and like you get to build your whole hunting parties and gain knowledge and information and science, and then go all the way through the industrial age. And it's like, yeah, that shit is slow and boring. Fuck that. Give me some cyberpunk. Give me some cars. Give me some guns. Give me some good voice acting with the characters. But my homie does say that y'all niggas just play the same kind of games all the time. So, because Harry Potter is kind of like Spider-Man, is kind of like Star Wars, is kind of like everything else I play. It is what it is. Yo, 30 minutes just to get out of the parking lot. That's wild. Yo, who you said? I remember you said who you were going to go see too. Rock concert. Who was the main headliners? Iron Maiden. That's right. I remember you said telling us that. I don't think I'll be able to keep up with you, Wendy. You always out and about, living your best life, doing stuff. About to go to the game. About to go to a concert. Like, goddamn. I don't never do none of that shit. Fucking Iron Maiden. I'm gonna have to I know the name. I definitely wanna check out some of their songs because Leonard Skinner. Now I know what that is. That was a good band. So this is the one song that everybody knows from Leonard Skinner. Now, if you don't know that song, you don't know music. Because even I know Leonard Skinner.
And welcome back to
And next to a girl 7'2". Is that like comment? Damn.
7'2".
I might have caught you.
You my little
I
story.
didn't think I.
Why he look like he got fucking lipstick on?
Initially, I didn't want to sing on it, and initially DMX didn't want me on the record. meat with it, street with it, street with it, slash, Cocoa Puff, sweet with it. He was like, I don't need no singer on it. The record is, to be honest, the record was kind of already, it was a different record. But the song was good with only X on it. But the marriage between our different worlds like really worked. But initially, he didn't want us even on the record. So initially, I didn't want to sing on it, and initially, DMX didn't want me on the record. Meat with it, street with it, street with it, slash, Cocoa Puff, sweet with it. He was like, I don't need no singer on it. The record is, to be honest, the record was kind of already.
Because that song do go hard, but he
What
ain't
happens
even
to
want to work together.
shellfish when they freeze suddenly?
He's there, look. He's on you. He's on me. Oh, shit.
Yeah, man, I can't with this fucking. I feel so weird right now.
This is an AI plugin
not
that will
gonna
make
lie,
Spotify
yeah.
Ready Masters in just 3 easy steps. Step 1, have one.
It makes me really, really, really believe that fucking. Damn, entertainment purposes only. I'm definitely not no anti-Semite or anything like that, but yo, the Jews run every fucking thing, bro. They even made Trump they bitch. Oh, we gonna attack these motherfuckers now? You gotta attack them with us, bro. You said no new wars, though. Like Israel will make every president bend the fucking knee. Every one of them just does whatever fucking Israel says, and I don't understand why, bro. We're not all fucking Jews. Okay, Holocaust, whatever. Y'all motherfuckers done stole the Palestinian land, and y'all still ain't happy with that. Yo, Jews run everything, yo. All the banking, all the media, all the fucking entertainment. It's just like they are the progenitors of propaganda. And they always make themselves out to be the victim every fucking time. And they control so much of America that even a duly elected American president gotta fucking do their dirty work. I don't like this shit at all, bro. At all. Shit really fucking pisses me off. That we're still fucking dropping bombs and killing fucking brown people. Let them motherfuckers handle that shit they down south, yo. Why we always gotta step in? Oh, because they're trying to get nukes. So the fuck what? Everybody got nukes. You don't want these people to have the ability of self-governance because they can come with a big stick too. So now what's gonna happen is a bunch of U.S. contractors are gonna get all the fucking contracts to go in and rebuild these areas. And then another thing that Only everything bad and depressing, yo. The other thing I'm starting to realize is what countries in the Middle East are not run or controlled by a European central bank?
Most countries in the Middle East have their own central banks, and some have pegged their currencies to the US dollar or other major currencies. However, when it comes to direct control by a European central bank, there aren't many examples. Countries like Iran and Syria have faced significant economic sanctions, but their central banks are still domestically controlled. In the case of other countries, some have currency pegs or significant economic ties to European nations, but again, not direct control by a European central bank. If you're looking for countries with more financial independence, you might consider nations like Iran, which has maintained control over its banking system despite sanctions. Other countries in the region generally maintain control over their monetary policy and central banking functions.
And this is why. That's
Countries
why.
in the Middle East generally maintain control over their central banks for a few key reasons. National sovereignty is a major.
I said stop. That's why. That's why we constantly bomb Iran and Syria. They refuse. They refuse to bend the knee to the European banking system. They don't want it. They don't want their country and all their resources to be controlled by people in different countries. Throughout all the sanctions and everything, these motherfuckers still have control over their own monetary system. The Jews don't like that. They want control and they want to make the money for every nation. And if you let me control the currency, I care not who makes the laws. That's why they fucking hate Iran. That's why they hate Iran. And Trump just dropped bombs on these motherfuckers, bro. And then you got motherfucking Netanyahu praising this motherfucker. Thank you, President Trump. And then Trump just said, "Oh, me and Yahoo worked together like no other team before. We did a great job at stopping these." Oh man, look, I'm so over this shit, bro. I don't know if you're reading a script or if that's really how you feel, but I'm done. It seems like it don't matter who gets in there. You're gonna have to do what fucking Israel tell you to do. And Netanyahu was a goddamn an American plant. Like that we placed that motherfucker in there or helped him get in there through a regime change. And he's been in there since I've been in fucking high school. This motherfucker been in there for 20 something years. Doing the same fucking shit. That's crazy. Nah, we're living in some really fucked up times right now. But everything is coming to light. You know, like if people can't really see the Zionist movement and this this march towards this totalitarian state that they're trying to build with the aid of America, like yo, we're already fucked, man. Everything is just fucked. And any country that refuses to bend the knee and tries to remain a true independent sovereign nation militarily, educationally, religiously, and financially, if you try to be your own independent, true self-governing nation, they don't like that. And they will continue to bomb and bomb and bomb and bomb and bomb until they kill all the elders. They kill all the strong soldiers. And then what's left is weak children. And then they'll convince the weak children through the propaganda that, oh, central banks are the way to go. You must allow us to have this in your country if you want prosperity. It's like that's utterly false. All right, I'm gonna go grab something for breakfast. I actually fell asleep last night eating some snacks. I woke up and I had like I had a plate with apples, peanut butter still on my bed. I'm like, what the? I thought I ate all that shit. Like, no, bro, you fell asleep before you finished your snack. Reading that book, I don't know. It was getting pretty good, yeah. Started reading some more from that book. Next thing I know, I was knocked the fuck out. I can't even remember where I left off at. No new songs right now. So I wrote two songs this week. Two of those like EDM dance songs. Uh, And then yesterday I played around with some video editing. I was gonna think about, 'cause I want to add two more of those trance like techno dance songs to the album. And I do have that one beat list that I've been listening to. It's really, really inspirational, honestly. So I thought about writing something yesterday, but instead I did some video editing. Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna just go fix a bowl of cereal real quick, cause I don't feel like doing nothing else. If I got some cereal in there, I might have ate all my cereal. Hold on, guys, I'll be right back. I'm hungry. Let's see here. So this is the last song I wrote yesterday or the day before yesterday? Day before yesterday?
Pictures fade like memories. Best friends chilling by the sea. Your first crush, your first love, your first love was your first drug. Your first kiss was your first buzz. And the time flies when you're having fun. Laugh so hard and we can't get enough. Party all night and we all stay up. Me and my friends and it's always us. Things gonna change, going through growing pains. So we count all the days, but the fact still remains that life moves so fast. Please stay up, please stay up. Please stay, please stay, please stay on, because truth from your tongue. Put your heart in it when the song is sung on the roof in the sun. And we all energized. Got ambition in our eyes, and our eyes on the prize. So we learn to compromise. Don't lose sight of your mission. Keep it inside your vision. Cause time keeps slipping and a day can feel like memories. Things can change, going through growing pains, so we count all the days, but the fact still remains that life so fast. Please stay up, please stay up, please stay, please stay up, because
So fast.
House entertainment.
It's called So Fast. I don't know why. Um, so I got right now 15 people are listening to some of my music. I've had 53 streams yesterday, and I got 5 new followers from Spotify. My old school album has the most is the most popular. You're the One is the top song. I'm trying to get access to my um try to get access to my Apple Music numbers. Amizu, what's up, bro? So we are getting like some people are listening to it. It's not wildly popular, but hey, it's something.
Thank you very much. A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the three key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel.
And they never did anything in 40 years. Just because they don't like you motherfuckers, that don't mean they've been actively committing military atrocities against our nations. How are they the biggest bully in the Middle East when they don't do shit? They don't even got nukes. This was yesterday. They did this shit yesterday.
They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their special.
So that's their biggest crime, is improvised explosive devices, IEDs, on the roadside. Where? In Iran? So you mean to tell me, like, you come to their country and they got booby traps in their country and you get hurt in their country because you're not even supposed to be there. And that's what makes them the biggest bully of the Middle East. They got roadside bombs to blow our legs off. Well, stop going there. Well, don't go there. You act like they're actively doing this shit in other countries. They're not. You gotta make it make sense, man. You gotta make it, and then on top of that, that's all they can do is some little bombs to blow your tanks up or your armored vehicles up. Motherfuckers don't really, man. If Iran can't even handle Israel, then why the fuck does America even have to step into that shit, yo?
We lost over 1,000 people.
1,000.
And hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East
Okay.
and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades.
That's crazy.
Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That shit is all about fucking Israel.
Alex
y'all.
started learning piano, but the nursery rhymes she's playing are
Everything is about Israel.
Ladybug, ladybug, fly away home.
Nigga, you say God bless Israel. Jews don't believe the same thing. They don't believe the same thing, bro. These motherfuckers swear down they are the chosen people. They are the children of God. Y'all motherfuckers still playing around with these goddamn old ass fucking fairy tales and shit. I don't give a fuck about no goddamn biblical time prophecies and all this shit, man. That shit is fucking done, son. The chosen people of God. Shut the fuck up. You motherfuckers ain't no damn more chosen than nobody else. Let's get over these old ass fucking biblical fairy tales and shit. It's a fucking fruit fly in here. Motherfuckers talking about, oh, niggas still be breaking up slavery from, that was hundreds of years ago. Man, y'all be bringing up Bible prophecies from thousands of years ago, man. That 2,000 years old, man. The prophecy is not real, bro. That shit not real. Give it up, man. Get that shit the fuck, but they won't. Because it allows them to play the fucking victim, the golden child, and to the scapegoat everything else. We're all fucking controlled by Israel, yo. They run the whole fucking thing, yo. The whole fucking thing. And everybody, I'm gonna listen to Devori because I like his take. I've been with him a lot in agreement on a lot of shit. Nigga, why?
Is always considered significant. Where would you go first? That's right.
Okay, now this is the group of people running to be governor of New York or mayor of New York. Governor? Anyway, so the panel is asking the politicians or the candidates, like, okay, so if you become mayor, Okay, if you become mayor of New York City, what is your first trip? Where are you gonna go first?
First foreign visit by a mayor of New York is always considered significant. Where would you go first? That's right, Ms. Adams.
First visit, I would visit the Holy Land.
Mr. Cuomo?
Given the hostility and the anti-Semitism that has been shown in New York, I would go to Israel.
Mr. Tilson, where would you go?
Yeah, I'd make my 4th trip to Israel, followed by my 5th trip to Ukraine, two of our greatest allies fighting on the front lines of a global war on terror.
Mr. Mamdani?
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
Wrong answer, pal.
Just jump in. Would you visit Israel as mayor?
I will be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their synagogues and temples, or at their homes, or at the subway platform.
Shame on you.
We need to focus on delivering on their concerns.
And just yes or no, do you believe in a Jewish state of Israel?
I believe Israel has the right to exist.
As a Jewish state?
No,
as a state with equal rights.
He won't
Not as a
say it
Jewish
has a
state.
right to exist as a Jewish state. Be very
And his
clear.
answer was no, he won't visit Israel.
I said that.
That's what he was trying to say.
No, unlike
No,
you, I
he
answered.
never-
Unlike
he
you, I
never
answered
said
questions
no.
very
Okay.
directly.
All right, Emma.
My goal would be to take my first trip to Israel. My wife's life work in this area means a lot to our family, and it could coincide with my young son Miles' bar mitzvah. We like to have bar mitzvah.
Okay, Bennett.
Shame on that one guy for not saying he would visit Israel. That's terrible. This sort of anti-Semitism in 2025, unbelievable. Makes me sick. No, if you're
Yo, you can't even. Yo, you get blasted if you say, well, I'll fuck with the Jews here in the 5 boroughs, and you go, oh, you're not gonna go to Israel? You're not gonna go to the Holy Land? Oh, you don't believe that in a Jewish state? I believe that Israel has the right to exist as a Jewish state, right? As a Jewish state, as a free state. Like, nigga, that shit ain't just for Jews, nigga. They wouldn't have stole that shit. Yo, motherfuckers are unhinged. The more I be looking at this shit, yo, Kanye West not crazy. Yo, and I already understood like the most of the power structure. This shit is way deeper than I guess I understood. Like this shit is just way deeper than most people can see, even me. So I'm like, the Bilderbergers, the Illuminati, the fucking Council on Foreign Relations, the Club of Rome, the goddamn Trilateral Commission, World Economic Forum, like the World Bank. It's like, oh, these are the entities. Yeah, you know what? And they're all run by fucking Jews. Yo, that's what they don't want you to really see. Like, oh my God, bro. Oh, y'all niggas run the world. How did y'all? It's a brilliant plan, brilliant strategy, but how did y'all actually organize that shit over the last 200-300 years? Like, where the meeting was at, man, when y'all just was like, yo, no matter what, we need to stick together, we need to buy up every source of influence, and at the same time, we need to train and educate our children and our lineage to maintain the fucking system. Regardless, maintain the system. And now they own everything. What the fuck? And they feel like they should because they are God's children. And it was set up like this for them. They're fulfilling their destiny. You know, this is what God wants. He wants us to rule the world with an iron fist until his return. I find it unsettling now. You're just like, Man, I'm just losing more and more hope, yo. This shit is crazy.
Iran, beef we did, World War I, and we did World War II. Bitch, we'll do this shit again. Iran, we ain't scared of you. Where the fuck do y'all stay? We ain't never heard of you. We send troops at the door. Bitch, you know.
If me.
You anti-Semitic? Anti-Semitic. You've many of the things that I've read about you, and you've made it mention a couple of times about the Jews and everything, and I'm wondering if you are personally anti-Semitic.
No, how can I be anti-Semitic when the Arabs are half the Muslim world is Semitic? If I was anti-Semitic, I'd be anti-Arab and anti-everything else. No, I think that in this country, there's one mistake that the Jews make. They put themselves in a position where whenever anybody gives an objective analysis of the role that they play, they defend themselves by accusing you of being anti-Semitic. And a Negro is not anti-Semitic when he says that the man who's exploiting him in his community is white, because it is a white man who owns all the stores. Now, is it an accident that these whites who own these stores are Jewish? If it's an accident, then the fact that he says the Jew on the corner is exploiting me isn't an anti-Semitic statement. It's just more descriptive of the man who's exploiting him.
Yo, that's Malcolm X. This shit been going on forever, man. Yo, how come I ain't never understand this shit, bro? How come I ain't never understand this shit? And anytime you make a critical analysis of them, they say, now you're being anti-Semitic. No, I'm not. We're trying to understand, like, how you have become Mr. I own everything. How have you guys managed to do that? That's the part I want to know. Where does all this ownership ability come from? Yo, my man got my homeboy runs a podcast, and I just texted this morning. I said, "We attacked Iran? ? Exclamation mark! Question mark! Exclamation mark!" I said, "Israel makes everyone their bitch, even Trump. Now I really believe the Jews run the world. Kanye ain't crazy." And then he texts back, "Kanye ain't crazy! Exclamation mark! We should podcast." Yo, my man, y'all I'm frustrated. I really am, and I don't really be on this political shit like that, but I understand politics.
We did World War I, and we did
World War II, and this is why, like, I really try to stay out of the political game, yo. I don't like playing the fucking game, but now since I cast my vote, it's just like, nigga, you owe me. You owe me, bro.
Israel. I'm a lawmaker and an Israeli spy. But ain't your loyalty? Why did you become an American politician? To protect Israel. I'm a lawmaker and an Israeli spy. But ain't your loyalty to America first, though, right? What does that mean? Bro, as a member of the American government, you're loyal to America and its people first, right? I'm trying to tell you I am. But that only depends on how good Israel doing at the moment. What the fuck does Satan Yahoo have on y'all? He got video evidence of us committing fucking felonies with kids. Huh? God damn it. So either we follow Israel and support them and pray to God that he doesn't make us lead ourselves to our fucking destruction. Or we do what's right and protect the American people, even if it means we all get exposed and this bitch collapses. And I'll be fucking damned. So either you put this little hat on and shut the fuck up, or you don't put it on and shut the fuck up, but you gonna shut the fuck up. Why did you become an American politician? To protect Israel. I'm a lawmaker and an Israeli spy. But ain't your loyalty to America first though, right? What does that mean? Bro, as a member of the American government, you're loyal to America and its people first, right? I'm trying to tell you I am. But that only depends on how good Israel doing at the moment. What the fuck does Satan Yahoo have on y'all? He got video evidence of us committing fucking felonies with kids. Huh? God damn it. So either we follow Israel and support them and pray to God that he doesn't make us lead ourselves for our fucking destruction. Or we do what's right and protect the American people, even if it means we all get exposed and this bitch collapses. And I'll be fucking damned. So either you put this little hat on and shut the fuck up, or you don't put it on and shut the fuck up, but you gonna shut the fuck up. Why did you become
ashamed of yourself? I'm an American. You asked the question. I know you can't handle brown people, being part of the West. I'm an American. I barely started, but he doesn't want people to hear what's going on. Israel attacked Iran first. In Syria, they bombed an Iranian consulate in violation of the laws of international law and international diplomatic law. Yeah, they killed Iranians in Iran. They then bombed Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran. They bombed the Iranian capital. And then they bombed Beirut and killed a senior Iranian general. So actually, it was Israel that's been provoking. So we're going to talk about lectures. You should keep your lectures to yourself and be embarrassed for the government you serve. As for you living in the region, the problem is not you living in the region. The problem is the army you serve and the country you're responsible for illegally occupies other people's lands in the West Bank, in Gaza, in the Golan Heights, now in Lebanon again. You are the country that is illegally occupying other people's lands. It's not about you living in your homes, it's about you taking other people's homes. It's about Israel now aiming to annex Gaza, according to Haaretz this week, that Netanyahu no longer has any interest in saving the hostages, as he never did, and is eyeing annexation of Gaza, to quote the Israeli newspaper Haaretz. I'm not sure how Jonathan still comes on these shows and defends that kind of barbarism and open war crimes. I'm not sure how Jonathan sleeps at night watching people burn to death thanks to the military that he served and is now being investigated both at the International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Court. That is what you stand for. You serve the IDF, the Israeli military, which, as I say, is being investigated at the ICJ, and the ICC. You serve a military that has been credibly accused by the United Nations just last week, by Israeli media, which showed videos of mass rape of Palestinian detainees. The New York Times this week reported that your military sent children, Palestinian children, as human shields into booby-trapped tunnels and buildings. Is that what you did, Jonathan? Can you tell us today, did you ever send a Palestinian child as a human shield into a tunnel? Because the New York Times is saying your military did that. The World Food Program is saying your military is starving the people of northern Gaza. Did you starve people when you were in the military, Jonathan? What do you stand for? Starvation? Mass rape? Ethnic cleansing? Genocide? Every human rights group in the world says your military is an abuser of human rights. I don't know how many human rights you yourself have personally abused. I don't know if you turned a blind eye to rape on your custody. I don't know if you killed children at cold blank, at point blank range like Israeli snipers did to people carrying white flags. You can tell us today how many people you've killed or how many people you've tortured. Listen, but the issue is you're bombing areas of tents and hospitals. You bombed refugee camps, as Piers pointed out. You bombed schools, as I pointed out, and you've dodged. You bombed a Lebanese Christian town and killed 23 people from one family, including 2 babies. You bombed UN peacekeeping soldiers from Ireland and Italy, who are not Hamas or Hezbollah either. Israel is bombing people deliberately. We don't need your word for that. We've seen hundreds of TikToks, including my company, Zateo, that you happily mentioned earlier, put out an entire documentary interviewing Israeli soldiers and showing the TikTok of them bragging about their violence inside of Gaza and now Lebanon. You talk about low-hanging fruit. Let's just be clear on the facts. It's people are not going to get the facts because, as you've read my book, there's a tactic called gish galloping, which is what you just did, which is to
never taken money from the Israel lobby, have you?
Taken money from the Israel.
From AIPAC.
So AIPAC raises a lot of money for me, but it's actually a misnomer because the people who raise money are individuals. So it's not the PAC itself, but they're individual members who believe in the American-Israeli friendship.
Is AIPAC a foreign lobby?
No, it's an American lobby. It's the AIPAC stands for the America-Israeli Political Action.
What does it lobby for?
So, to be honest, not a whole lot effectively. Listen, I came into Congress 13 years ago with the stated intention of being the leading defender of Israel in the United States Senate.
Right.
And I've worked every day to do that. AIPAC, a lot of times, AIPAC, I wish were much more effective. Like, they're folks online who are in the fever swamp of terrified of AIPAC, and AIPAC.
I'm not terrified of AIPAC at all. You're the one who seems a little uncomfortable when I'm asking.
No, not uncomfortable at all.
I'm just asking what AIPAC does. My understanding, having known a lot of people
I can tell you
that is that it lobbies on behalf of the Israeli government.
Wrong.
Oh, okay.
It's
when was the last time AIPAC took a position that deviated from Prime Minister Netanyahu?
All the time.
Name one.
Okay. Let me go back and give a little history. Do you want to do a deep dive on AIPAC?
I don't. I want to do a shallow dive that gets.
No.
I want to get to the core question. AIPAC is lobbying for a foreign government, and I don't. It's not. No. It's lobbying for the United States.
It is lobbying for a strong U.S.-Israeli relationship.
Okay.
And
so it's not has nothing to do with the foreign government.
It wants America and Israel to be closely allied.
Okay, but it's lobbying on behalf of the interests of another country.
So that's not true at all. And
it's not true.
No. And
how much contact do you think AIPAC leaders have with the government of Israel?
No idea. I imagine some. I think the government of Israel is often frustrated with AIPAC.
Do you think there's any
not nearly strong enough?
Do you think there's any coordination between the government of Israel and AIPAC?
Do they talk? Sure. If you're lobbying for more U.S.-Mexico trade, would you talk to people in the U.S. and Mexico and the government? Sure. Like if.
So I'm not mad about that. There are a million countries that lobby Washington. I like a lot of those countries, including Israel.
But AIPAC are Americans. They're not Israelis.
Hold on. There are tons of Americans who lobby on behalf of foreign governments. I know them. I'm related to some of them. I know how it works. I'm from here. So my question is not, is it outrageous that foreign governments lobby the United States? They all do, okay, including Israel. My only question is, why don't we admit that is what's happening? You're denying it, but it's true.
Yeah, and why
aren't they registered as a foreign lobby?
Because they're not.
Yo, tax money's been hijacked, bro. Tax money's been hijacked, dude. Like I said, I'm sorry. I am after this fucking missile strike on their bases, on their science labs and shit. I'm so over this shit, bro. These motherfuckers playing dangerously close right now, and I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. We're in a very, very dynamic, shifting era right now. Everything is changing really rapidly. Shit like this is going down.
Breaking news.
The official BRICS banknote has been unveiled at the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum. This symbolic currency design reflects the growing economic cooperation and shared vision amongst BRICS member nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, as they pursue alternatives to Western-dominated financial systems. Shit is fucking changing, dude. The shit is changing fast. Alliances are changing. partnerships are being made, and a lot of Western countries are not in that shit, and they don't like it. So they're trying to solidify as much territory as possible and to have as many people as possible under the regime, the European Empire, because they see that shit shrinking. Shit like that got everybody thinking different. And America ain't got nothing but guns. We don't got a lot of shit to offer nobody anymore, except we can beat somebody up for you. Yo, this shit is changing so fast, bro. What, the missile strikes or the banknotes? Missile strikes was definitely coordinated. The banknotes definitely coordinated. Ain't nothing one-sided over here. I say alliances are shifting fast. Everybody trying to show where they alliances are held too. So once again, you fuck with the Jews, you gotta fuck with America in general. And now, if you fucking with the oil and trade, you know what I'm saying? India, Russia, China, that's where that shit is at now. South Africa, that's where that shit is at now. Countries are making it known like who they fuck with and who they don't fuck with. So it's gonna be the next 20 years are gonna be weird as fuck, bro. This whole next generation. You know, we got about 2 generations under our belt. We could probably see one more play out in our lifetime. This next generation, that shit gonna be crazy. Yeah. Now, Dvory, I like Dvory. He's a military guy. He's a big Trump supporter, and I think he has very logical viewpoints, very common sense viewpoints. That's why I listen to his channel so much. But I do want to hear what he says about this shit right here,
Thank you.
Because I don't agree with it. I want to see if he agrees with this shit or not, with us attacking Iran.
Okay, short and sweet, right? Didn't plan to go live here, but given
how big of an event this is, we had to make an appearance, right? Now, for the people who follow me every day, I am reacting to this announcement of America officially dropping bombs on Iranian nuclear facilities. And I want to see what you guys think about it. We're going to look at some of the reactions on social media. We're going to go over, obviously, the major sides to this entire debate because there's quite a few. And we're going to discuss it, right? Have a fun time talking about it here. And let me just tell you guys the bottom line up front. The military soldiers who were involved in this operation, they are okay. I guarantee you they were happy to do it. I can't tell you enough that when you serve in the military, the biggest honor you can ever have, besides obviously getting out of the military without a dishonorable discharge, it's actually going to war or being involved in a war. Doesn't matter if you're on the front lines or you're in a support role, the fact that you were able to deploy in some capacity brings the full circle of the pain you have to go through in the military. It brings it full circle because all the training, all the time you're away from your family, when you get to deploy, you're like, okay, this is why, right? Because you're doing it on behalf of your country. You get to exercise those training, those skills in real world scenarios. And there's just nothing like it, okay? It's almost equivalent to having kids. It's hard to explain it to people unless you have them, right? And it's the same thing here with deploying. So I just want to say that up front because what you're going to see on social media is a lot of reactions where some people are happy. There's people who are upset. And then you're going to find people trying to, I guess, speak on behalf of military soldiers to make it seem like they didn't want to do this. Trust me. Those people flying those bombers, those people involved in the planning, they love this, okay? Now, politically, and maybe some of their beliefs from a political standpoint, they may not necessarily agree with, but the actual skill, the strategy, waking up in the morning and planning this out without most people knowing, by the way, which we're going to get into because nobody knew it happened today, only a select amount of people, they relish that. So I want to say that up front. Now, before we get to all the other stuff, I say thank you guys for joining me live here as we react to this huge announcement. I see your comments coming in. And where we're going to start first is on X.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Lee Wilson. I'm an international dance artist. I have so many projects coming out this year, and the only distributor I trust is CD Baby. The best part, no reoccurring fees. Once your music is up, it's up. So you don't have to worry about your music being taken down. You don't have to worry.
And obviously, let's start with something funny. Is that okay with you guys? Can we do that? And we start with something that's going to put a smile on your face in case you happen to be one of those people who aren't taking this announcement very well. Read this really quick. Breaking. A federal judge has ordered President Trump to rebuild Iran's nuclear sites. I mean, come on. That's got to be funny, right? I mean, come on. It's okay to laugh, guys. I think the problem that you're going to see as we go through this video is people take it's too serious, okay? Life is too short. So I at least want to start off with a laugh. Okay, so let's talk about, and I had to write it down here because I want to make sure I'm thorough in this video and your guys' time here. There are multiple issues at hand, right? So, the issue, and give me a moment here as I figure out where I wrote it. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. So the first criticism, why don't we take care of that first? Let's look at the criticisms because we can knock that out first and then get to what's good about this. Okay. Is that all right with you guys? And if you guys have questions or anything like that, definitely put it in the comment section below. No question. We will respond to that. Now, let's go through the criticisms. Here's the main one that you're going to see from the left, and it's just fitting that this popped up on my feed. This happens to be probably the person with the most Trump derangement syndrome in this world. It's this: Mr. No New Wars just bombed Iran without congressional authority. So this brings up a talking point and a question. Did President Trump order these strikes in regards to Iran, and did he have the authority to do so? Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, he has the authority to do so. You know why that is? Is because since 9/11, they came up with this law in Congress that allows the president to order military strikes without congressional approval. So you will see on social media and probably mainstream news as well, where they start to try to argue the point, hey, who authorized President Trump to do this? It's the same thing with National Guard in Los Angeles. He doesn't have the authority to, come on, give us a break. Okay, he's the president of the United States. You don't think his cabinet, his Department of Justice, the people in his camp, you don't think he knows whether or not he can do it? I mean, it's a complete joke. But this is one of the main criticisms you're going to see, that he did it without congressional approval. He doesn't need congressional approval to exercise military strikes. Again, if you're just joining us right now, I'm going through the criticisms of what just happened. And then we'll get into the positive reaction to what happened. And that way, you guys get to see both sides. It's not for me to tell you how to feel. It's not for me to tell you how to think. You make up your own mind on what this means to you. I'm just going to show you what everybody is saying. I'll give you my little 2 cents, of course. But the bottom line on this first criticism, he does have the congressional approval, he does not need congressional approval to order military strikes. And what's so funny is that you don't have to go very far to see this take place, because if you just read the comments, one of the individuals already posted this. The president has constitutional authority as commander-in-chief under Article 2, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution that has been interpreted to allow short-term, limited military actions without congressional approval, strikes conducted in self-defense to protect U.S. interests or personnel, actions that don't rise to the level of war. And of course, that takes us to the next criticism, because that is the fact that he ordered these strikes means that Iran has no choice but to retaliate. And if they retaliate, then that means that this is going to be a full-on war. Now, the question is, if they retaliate, are they attacking U.S. armed forces, or are they just going to continue to try to attack Israel? That remains to be seen. And as you heard in the statement from the president, he's hoping that Iran just backs down right now. Now, if history has taught us anything, the chances of that happening is probably slim. I think I said it in all of my videos. Iran is a Middle Eastern country. They don't think like America thinks. Okay, America's like logical. Yeah, if we use this amount of force, then they'll stop. The people in the Middle East don't think that way. They don't care how much force. But there are people who are willing to die right now if they had to. They don't care, right? I mean, that's just the reality. And I remember when I first deployed to Afghanistan, I remember they were telling us, they were saying, like, you guys have to understand the culture and the mindset of the Middle East. You have people who grow up believing that their purpose in life is to sooner or later blow up an American, or to sooner or later kill someone that they deem to be a terrorist on this planet. Like Iran clearly wants to destroy Israel, no question, and Israel wants to destroy Iran. We know that. Middle Eastern countries, this is my point, Middle Eastern countries don't think like we do, ladies and gentlemen.
Save time creating content and generate a high-quality clone of your voice with 11 Labs.
And how is that a bad thing that they don't think the way we do? That's not a bad thing. And yeah, they're, like you said, some of these people are willing to die now. That's how much they believe in their faith, their homeland, their heritage, and their right to self-governance, that they will die for that shit at the drop of a fucking dime. And most Americans won't. Most Americans won't sacrifice their lives for something as just as defending your homeland so that your kids and your grandkids and your great-grandkids can still grow up speaking the same native tongue and living in the same region that you are. They'll die for that shit. And yeah, not thinking the same, that's awesome. That is fucking awesome. That's what makes us humans. That we're not all going to think the same way. That's what makes different cultures so beautiful and unique amongst themselves, because we have a different way of thinking. We have a different ideology, a different belief system. We have different core values. And that's great. If that works for you guys. This whole fucking trying to westernize the entire fucking world is bullshit, you know. Everybody doesn't need to be like Western countries. Do we got it nice? Yeah, you know, we like it. But if other countries say you gotta wear a burqa and do all this shit, then hey, that's y'all traditions, that's y'all culture. Leave them motherfuckers alone. And if they want to change it, let them change that shit internally themselves.
So when we try to critique and we try to place what we believe to be the right thing to do on these Middle Eastern countries, it's not technically right because one, we're not from there. Two, we don't actually understand their culture and their belief system. We're seeing it from the.
I think the next false flag incident in this country is going to be some fucking a dirty bomb or some shit like that. 9/11 was horrific and it was terrifying and it scared a lot of people, and it, you know, like you say, it really pushed the Americans' agreement with the fucking war and shit. Like, I don't know, but the next time they're gonna have to kill like 1 million people. I think next time is if they do something like that again, it's gonna be way bigger, bro. That shit gonna be way, way bigger. Cause it's kind of hard to fool us right now. Damn, I'm still hungry. Still don't feel like fixing to eat though. I had a bowl of cereal. That wasn't
Being an American where we are really privileged. Think about it. You can be a homeless guy in America and still be richer than most people in Africa.
Just think about that for a second, right? So I think you guys are getting my point. So first criticism, obviously, was no congressional approval. We talked about that already. Second one is this is going to escalate. And that's what brings us to some of the stuff I've been seeing on the feed here. So here's one. So George, if you guys follow him on X, he says, congratulations to Benjamin Netanyahu for once again getting the United States to do exactly what he wants. Now, let's be real here. Let's follow this criticism. We knew leading up to the election that President Trump is 110% loyal to Israel. We knew that. He's the only president that did what? Moved the embassy to Jerusalem. I mean, we knew that. We knew how big of a deal the support from Israel really was because of some of the events he hosted leading up to the election. For a second. So I'm not shocked that he congratulated Israel, that he said at the end of his statement, God bless Israel. I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked that he's in some capacity working with Israel in regards to this. What I find to be interesting is why people are shocked by that, right? It shouldn't be a shocker. This is probably the most pro-Israel president in history. You may say that's a huge criticism for President Trump. You might even go extreme, like some people do on the platform, and say he's bought and paid for, and he's just a puppet for Israel. You may go as far as to say that Israel is the one controlling America. I don't care what you believe. You believe whatever you want. I'm just telling you that nobody should be shocked that he made this move and that he is obviously supporting Israel in that regard. And so people are not going to take this very well, or there's a certain amount of people who are not going to take this very well. Now, some of the reasoning is because some people, including people within his own cabinet, according to rumors and speculation and reports, that they advise against doing this.
Welcome to more.
Thank you.
Let's go up.
Choose from hundreds of quality used cars.
Okay, sure. But we will get to that later here. Let me get to, well, here's Grok actually supporting what I had already talked about, which was congressional approval. Former President Obama authorized multiple military actions without congressional approval when it came to Libya and Syria. Yeah, there we go. Precise numbers are unclear, but reports suggest
Iran, Libya, Syria, the countries that don't have European central banks. That's the part right there, bro. That's the hidden key feature that nobody ever likes to bring up. Why are we always bombing the countries that won't let us put banks in there? But you won't do that shit to motherfucking North Korea or Russia, though. Why? Because they already got nukes. So you're going to bully these motherfuckers without nukes to try to get down and lay down before they can become a nuclear power and be like, nah, y'all not going to bully us anymore. Devori is making a lot of excuses. I can't really listen to that right now. I'm like, dang, bro.
With you doing this job, right?
Yeah.
And if we said, we'll give you the same money just to sit around, that would impact your dignity.
You said something earlier about it surpassing or being superior to human intelligence. A lot of people, I think, like to believe that AI is on a computer and something you can just turn off if you don't like it.
Well, let me tell you why I think it's superior.
Okay.
It's digital. And because it's digital, you can simulate a neural network on one piece of hardware.
Yeah.
And you can simulate exactly the same neural network on a different piece of hardware. So you can have clones of the same intelligence. Now, you could get this one to go off and look at one bit of the internet, and this other one to look at a different bit of the internet. And while they're looking at these different bits of the internet, they can be syncing with each other, so they keep their weights the same. The connection strengths the same. Weights are connection strengths. So this one might look at something on the internet and say, oh, I'd like to increase this strength of this connection a bit. And it can convey that information to this one, so it can increase the strength of that connection a bit based on this one's experience.
And when you say the strength of the connection, you're talking about learning.
That's learning, yes. Yeah. Learning consists of saying, instead of this one giving 2.4 votes for whether that one should turn on, we'll have this one give 2.5 votes for whether this one should turn on. And that will be a little bit of learning. So these two different copies of the same neural net are getting different experiences. They're looking at different data, but they're sharing what they've learned by averaging their weights together. And they can do that averaging at you can average 1 trillion weights. When you and I transfer information, we're limited to the amount of information in a sentence. And the amount of information in a sentence is maybe 100 bits. It's very little information. We're lucky if we're transferring like 10 bits a second. These things are transferring trillions of bits a second. So they're billions of times better than us at sharing information. And that's because they're digital, and you can have 2 bits of hardware using the connection strengths in exactly the same way. We're analog and you can't do that. Your brain's different from my brain. And if I could see the connection strengths between all your neurons, it wouldn't do me any good, because my neurons work slightly differently and they're connected up slightly differently. So when you die, all your knowledge dies with you. When these things die, suppose you take these 2 digital intelligences that are clones of each other, and you destroy the hardware they run on. As long as you've stored the connection strength somewhere, you can just build new hardware that executes the same instructions, so it'll know how to use those connection strengths, and you've recreated that intelligence. So they're immortal. We've actually solved the problem of immortality, but it's only for digital things.
So it knows, essentially know everything that humans know, but more, because it will learn new things.
It will learn new things. It will also see all sorts of analogies that people probably never saw. So, for example, at the point when GPT-4 couldn't look on the web, I asked it, why is a compost heap like an atom bomb? Off you go.
I have no idea.
Exactly. Excellent. That's exactly what most people would say. It said, well, the time scales are very different, and the energy scales are very different. But then it went on to talk about how a compost heap, as it gets hotter, generates heat faster. And an atom bomb, as it produces more neutrons, generates neutrons faster. And so they're both chain reactions, but at very different time and energy scales. And I believe GPT-4 had seen that during its training. It had understood the analogy between a compost heap and an atom bomb. And the reason I believe that is, if you've only got 1 trillion connections, remember you have 100 trillion, and you need to have thousands of times more knowledge than a person, you need to compress information into those connections. And to compress information, you need to see analogies between different things. In other words, it needs to see all things that are chain reactions and understand the basic idea of a chain reaction and code that, and then code the ways in which they're different. And that's just a more efficient way of coding things than coding each of them separately. So it's seen many, many analogies, probably many analogies that people have never seen. That's why I also think that people say these things are not very creative. They're going to be much more creative than us, because they're going to see all sorts of analogies we never saw. And a lot of creativity is about seeing strange analogies.
People are somewhat romantic about the specialness of what it is to be human. And you hear lots of people saying, oh, it's very, very different. It's a computer. We are, we're conscious. We are creatives. We have these sort of innate, unique abilities that the computers will never have. What do you say to those people?
I'd argue a bit with the innate. So the first thing I say is we have a long history of believing people were special, and we should have learned by now. We thought we were at the center of the universe. We thought we were made in the image of God. White people thought they were very special. We just tend to want to think we're special. My belief is that more or less everyone has a completely wrong model of what the mind is. Let's suppose I drink a lot, or I drop some acid, and not recommended. And I say to you, I have the subjective experience of little pink elephants floating in front of me. Most people interpret that as there's some kind of inner theater called the mind, and only I can see what's in my mind. And in this inner theater, there's little pink elephants floating around. So in other words, what's happened is my perceptual system's gone wrong, and I'm trying to indicate to you how it's gone wrong and what it's trying to tell me. And the way I do that is by telling you what would have to be out there in the real world for it to be telling the truth. And so these little pink elephants, they're not in some inner theater. These little pink elephants are hypothetical things in the real world. And that's my way of telling you how my perceptual system's telling me fibs. So now let's do that with a chatbot.
Yeah.
Because I believe that current multimodal chatbots have subjective experiences. And very few people believe that, but I'll try and make you believe it. So suppose I have a multimodal chatbot. It's got a robot arm so it can point, and it's got a camera so it can see things. And I put an object in front of it, and I say, point at the object. It goes like this, no problem. Then I put a prism in front of its lens. And so then I put an object in front of it, and I say, point at the object, and it goes there. Good. And I say, no, that's not where the object is. The object's actually straight in front of you, but I put a prism in front of your lens. And the chatbot says, oh, I see, the prism bent the light rays, so the object's actually there, but I had the subjective experience that it was there. Now, if the chatbot says that, it's using the word subjective experience exactly the way people use them. It's an alternative view of what's going on. They're hypothetical states of the world, which, if they were true, would mean my perceptual system wasn't lying. And that's the best way I can tell you what my perceptual system's doing when it's lying to me. Now, we need to go further to do with sentience and consciousness and feelings and emotions. But I think in the end, they're all going to be dealt with in a similar way. There's no reason machines can't have them all. But people say machines can't have feelings. And people are curiously confident about that. I have no idea why. Suppose I make a battle robot. And it's a little battle robot. And it sees a big battle robot that's much more powerful than it. It would be really useful if it got scared. Now, when I get scared, various physiological things happen that we don't need to go into. And those won't happen with the robot. But all the cognitive things, like I better get the hell out of here, and I better sort of change my way of thinking so I focus and focus and focus and don't get distracted, all of that will happen with robots too. People will build in things so that they, when the circumstances are such they should get the hell out of there, they get scared and run away. They'll have emotions then. They won't have the physiological aspects, but they will have all the cognitive aspects. And I think it would be odd to say they're just simulating emotions. No, they're really having those emotions. The little robot got scared and ran away.
Away because of adrenaline, it's running away because of a sequence of sort of neurological, in its neural net processes happened, which
have the equivalent effect to adrenaline.
So do you think
it's not just adrenaline, right? There's a lot of cognitive stuff goes on when you get scared.
Yeah. So do you think that conscious AI, say conscious, I mean, that represents the same properties of consciousness that a human has?
There's two issues here. There's a sort of empirical one and a philosophical one. I don't think there's anything in principle that stops machines from being conscious. I'll give you a little demonstration of that before we carry on. Suppose I take your brain, and I take one brain cell in your brain, and I replace it by, it's a bit Black Mirror-like, I replace it by a little piece of nanotechnology that's just the same size, that behaves in exactly the same way when it gets pings from other neurons. It sends out pings just as the brain cell would have. So the other neurons don't know anything's changed. Okay, I've just replaced one of your brain cells with this little piece of nanotechnology. Would you still be conscious?
Yeah.
Now you can see where this argument's going.
Yeah. So if you replaced all of them.
As I replace them all, at what point do you stop being conscious?
Well, people think of consciousness as this like ethereal thing that exists maybe beyond the brain cells.
Yeah, well, people have a lot of crazy ideas. People don't know what consciousness is, and they often don't know what they mean by it. And then they fall back and saying, well, I know it because I've got it, and I can see that I've got it. And they fall back on this theatre model of the mind, which I think is nonsense.
What do you think of consciousness as, if you had to try and define it? Is it, because I think of it as just like the awareness of myself, I don't know.
I think it's a term we'll stop using. Especially when trying to understand how a car works. Well, you know, some cars have a lot of oomph, and other cars have a lot less oomph. Like an Aston Martin's got lots of oomph, and a little Toyota Corolla doesn't have much oomph. But oomph isn't a very good concept for understanding cars. If you want to understand cars, you need to understand about electric engines or petrol engines and how they work. And it gives rise to oomph. But oomph isn't a very useful explanatory concept. It's the kind of essence of a car. It's the essence of an Aston Martin. But it doesn't explain much. I think consciousness is like that. And I think we'll stop using that term. But I don't think there's any reason why a machine shouldn't have it. If your view of consciousness is that it intrinsically involves self-awareness, then the machine's got to have self-awareness. It's got to have cognition about its own cognition and stuff. But I'm a materialist through and through, and I don't think there's any reason why a machine shouldn't have consciousness.
Do you think they do then have the same consciousness that we think of ourselves as being uniquely given as a gift when we're born?
I'm ambivalent about that at present. So I don't think there's this hard line. I think as soon as you have a machine that has some self-awareness, it's got some consciousness. I think it's an emergent property of a complex system. It's not a sort of essence that's throughout the universe. It's you make this really complicated system that's complicated enough to have a model of itself, and it does perception. And I think then you're beginning to get a conscious machine. So I don't think there's any sharp distinction between what we've got now and conscious machines. I don't think it's going to, one day we're going to wake up and say, hey, if you put this special chemical in, it becomes conscious. It's not going to be like that.
I think we all wonder if these computers are like thinking like we are on their own when we're not there, and if they're experiencing emotions, if they're contending with. I think we probably, we think about things like love and things that feel unique to biological species. Are they sat there thinking? Are they? Do they have concerns?
I think they really are thinking, and I think as soon as you make AI agents, they will have concerns. If you want to make an effective AI agent, let's take a call center. In a call center, you have people present. They have all sorts of emotions and feelings, which are kind of useful. So suppose I call up the call center, and I'm actually lonely, and I don't actually want to know the answer to why my computer isn't working. I just want somebody to talk to. After a while, the person in the call center will either get bored or get annoyed with me and will terminate it. Well, you replace them by an AI agent. The AI agent needs to have the same kind of responses. If someone's just called up because they just want to talk to the AI agent and we're happy to talk for the whole day to the AI agent, that's not good for business. And you want an AI agent that either gets bored or gets irritated and says, I'm sorry, but I don't have time for this. Once it does that, I think it's got emotions. Now, like I say, emotions have two aspects to them. There's the cognitive aspect and the behavioral aspect, and then there's a physiological aspect. And those go together with us. And if the AI agent gets embarrassed, it won't go red.
Yeah. So there's no physiological.
And its skin won't start sweating.
Yeah.
But it might have all the same behavior. And in that case, I'd say, yeah, it's having emotion. It's got an emotion.
So it's going to have the same sort of cognitive thought, and then it's going to act upon that cognitive
in
thought.
the same way, but without the physiological responses.
And does that matter? That it doesn't go red in the face, and it's just a different. I mean, that's the response to the.
It makes it somewhat different from us.
Yeah.
For some things, the physiological aspects are very important, like love. They're a long way from having love the same way we do. But I don't see why they shouldn't have emotions. So I think what's happened is people have a model of how the mind works and what feelings are and what emotions are, and their model's just wrong.
What brought you to Google? You worked at Google for about a decade, right?
Yeah.
What brought you there?
I have a son who has learning difficulties. And in order to be sure he would never be out on the street, I needed to get several $1 million. And I wasn't going to get that as an academic. I tried. So I taught a Coursera course in the hope that I'd make lots of money that way, but there was no money in that. So I figured out, well, the only way to get millions of dollars is to sell myself to a big company. And so when I was 65, fortunately for me, I had two brilliant students who produced something called AlexNet, which was a neural net that was very good at recognizing objects and images. And so Ilya and Alex and I set up a little company and auctioned it. And we actually set up an auction where we had a number of big companies bidding for us.
And that company was called AlexNet.
No, the network that recognized objects was called AlexNet. The company was called DNN Research, Deep Neural Network Research.
And it's doing things like this. I'll put this graph up on the screen.
That's AlexNet.
This picture shows 8 images, and AlexNet's ability, which is your company's ability, to spot what was in those images.
Yeah. So it could tell the difference between various kinds of mushroom. And about 12% of ImageNet is dogs. And to be good at ImageNet, you have to tell the difference between very similar kinds of dog. And we've got to be very good at that.
And your company, AlexNet, won several awards, I believe, for its ability to outperform its competitors. And so Google ultimately ended up acquiring your technology.
Google acquired that technology and some other technology.
And you went to work at Google at age, what, 66?
I went at age 65 to work at Google.
65. And you left at age 76?
75.
75, okay.
I worked there for more or less exactly 10 years.
And what were you doing there?
Okay, they were very nice to me. They said pretty much you can do what you like. I worked on something called distillation that did really work well. And that's now used all the time.
In AI.
In AI. And distillation is a way of taking what a big model knows, a big neural net knows, and getting that knowledge into a small neural net. Then at the end, I got very interested in analog computation and whether it would be possible to get these big language models running in analog hardware so they use much less energy. And it was when I was doing that work that I began to really realize how much better digital is for sharing information.
Was there a eureka moment?
There was a eureka month or two. And it was a sort of coupling of ChatGPT coming out, although Google had very similar things a year earlier. And I'd seen those, and that had a big effect on me. The closest I had to a eureka moment was when a Google system called Palm was able to say why a joke was funny. And I'd always thought of that as a kind of landmark. If it can say why a joke's funny, it really does understand. And it could say why a joke was funny. And that coupled with realizing why digital is so much better than analog for sharing information suddenly made me very interested in AI safety and that these things were going to get a lot smarter than us.
Why did you leave Google?
The main reason I left Google was because I was 75 and I wanted to retire. I've done a very bad job of that. The precise timing of when I left Google was so that I could talk freely at a conference at MIT. But I left because I'm old and I was finding it harder to program. I was making many more mistakes when I programmed, which was very annoying.
You wanted to talk freely at a conference at MIT?
Yes, MIT, organized by MIT Tech Review.
What did you want to talk about freely?
AI safety.
And you couldn't do that while you were at Google?
Well, I could have done it while I was at Google, and Google encouraged me to stay and work on AI safety and said I could do whatever I liked on AI safety. You kind of censor yourself. If you work for a big company, you don't feel right saying things that will damage the big company. Even if you could get away with it, it just feels wrong to me. I didn't leave because I was cross with anything Google was doing. I think Google actually behaved very responsibly. When they had these big chatbots, they didn't release them, possibly because they were worried about their reputation. They had a very good reputation and they didn't want to damage it. So OpenAI didn't have a reputation, and so they could afford to take the gamble.
I mean, there's also a big conversation happening around how it will cannibalize their core business in search.
There is now, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the old innovators dilemma to some degree, I guess.
Exactly. Yes, it is.
With. Bad skin, I've had it, and I'm sure many of you listening have had it too. Or maybe you have it right now. I know how draining it can be, especially if you're in a job where you're presenting often, like I am. So let me tell you about something that's helped both my partner and me and my sister, which is red light therapy. I only got into this a couple of years ago, but I wish I'd known a little bit sooner. I've been using our show sponsors, Bond Charger's infrared sauna blanket for a while now, but I just got hold of their red light therapy mask as well. Red light has been proven to have so many benefits for the body. Like any area of your skin that's exposed will see a reduction in scarring, wrinkles, and even blemishes. It also helps with complexion. It boosts collagen, and it does that by targeting the upper layers of your skin. And Bond Charge ships worldwide with easy returns and a year-long warranty on all of their products. So if you'd like to try it yourself, head over to bondcharge.com/diary and use code DIARY for 25% off any product site-wide. Just make sure you order through this link, bondcharge.com/diary with code DIARY. Make sure you keep what I'm about to say to yourself. I'm inviting 10,000 of you to come even deeper into the Diary of a CEO. Welcome to my inner circle. This is a brand new private community that I'm launching to the world. We have so many incredible things that happen that you are never shown. We have the briefs that are on my iPad when I'm recording the conversation. We have clips we've never released. We have behind the scenes conversations with the guests, and also the episodes that we've never, ever released, and so much more. In the circle, you'll have direct access to me. You can tell us what you want this show to be, who you want us to interview, and the types of conversations you would love us to have. But remember, for now, we're only inviting the first 10,000 people that join before it closes. So if you want to join our private closed community, head to the link in the description below or go to doaccircle.com. I will speak to you then. I'm continually shocked by the types of individuals that listen to this conversation. Because they come up to me sometimes. So I hear from politicians, I hear from some royal people, I hear from entrepreneurs all over the world, whether they are the entrepreneurs building some of the biggest companies in the world or they're, early stage startups. For those people that are listening to this conversation now, that are in positions of power and influence, world leaders, let's say, to them,
I'd say what you need is highly regulated capitalism. That's what seems to work best.
And what would you say to the average person? Doesn't work in the industry, somewhat concerned about the future, if they're helpless or not doing in their own lives?
My feeling is there's not much they can do. This isn't going to be decided by, just as climate change isn't going to be decided by people separating out the plastic bags from the compostables. That's not going to have much effect. It's going to be decided by whether the lobbyists for the big energy companies can be kept under control. I don't think there's much people can do to, except for try and pressure their governments to force the big companies to work on AI safety. That they can do.
You lived a fascinating winding life. I think one of the things most people don't know about you is that your family has a big history of being involved in tremendous things. You have a family tree, which is one of the most impressive that I've ever seen or read about. Your great-great-grandfather, George Ball, founded the Boolean algebra logic, which is one of the foundational principles of modern computer science. You have your great-great-grandmother, Mary Everest Ball, who was a mathematician and educator who made huge leaps forward in mathematics from what I was able to ascertain. The list goes on and on and on. I mean, your great-great-uncle, George Everest, is what Mount Everest is named after. Is that correct?
I think he's my great-great-great-uncle. His niece married George Ball. So Mary Ball was Mary Everest Ball, and she was the niece of Everest.
And your first cousin once removed, Joan Hinton, was involved in a nuclear physicist who worked on the Manhattan Project, which is the World War II development of the first nuclear bomb.
Yeah, she was one of the 2 female physicists at Las Almas. And then, after they dropped the bomb, she moved to China.
Why?
She was very cross with them dropping the bomb, and her family had a lot of links with China. Her mother was friends with Chairman Mao. Quite weird.
When you look back at your life, Jeffrey, with the hindsight you have now and the retrospective clarity, what might you have done differently if you were advising me?
I guess I have 2 pieces of advice. One is, if you have an intuition that people are doing things wrong and there's a better way to do things, don't give up on that intuition just because people say it's silly. Don't give up on the intuition until you've figured out why it's wrong. Figured out for yourself why that intuition isn't correct. And usually, it's wrong if it disagrees with everybody else, and you'll eventually figure out why it's wrong. But just occasionally, you'll have an intuition that's actually right and everybody else is wrong. And I lucked out that way. Early on, I thought neural nets are definitely the way to go to make AI. And almost everybody said that was crazy. And I stuck with it because I couldn't, it just seemed to me it was obviously right. Now, the idea that you should stick with your intuitions isn't going to work if you have bad intuitions. But if you have bad intuitions, you're never going to do anything anyway, so you might as well stick with them.
And in your own career journey, is there anything you look back on and say, with the hindsight I have now, I should have taken a different approach at that juncture?
I wish I'd spent more time with my wife. And with my children when they were little. I was kind of obsessed with work.
Your wife passed away?
Yeah.
From ovarian cancer?
No, well, that was another wife.
Okay.
I had 2 wives die of cancer.
Oh, really? Sorry.
The first one died of ovarian cancer, and the second one died of pancreatic cancer.
And you wish you'd spent more time with her?
With the second wife, yeah, who was a wonderful person.
Why do you say that in your 70s? What is it that you've figured out that I might not know yet?
Oh, just because she's gone and I can't spend more time with her now.
Mm-hmm. But you didn't know that at the time. At
the time, you think, I mean, it was likely I would die before her just because she was a woman and I was a man. I just didn't spend enough time when I could.
I think I inquire there because I think there's many of us that are so consumed with what we're doing professionally that we kind of assume immortality with our partners because they've always been there. So we,
yeah.
I mean,
but she was very supportive of me spending a lot of time working.
And why do you say your children as well? What's the?
Well, I didn't spend enough time with them when they were little.
And you regret that now?
Yeah.
If you had a closing message for my listeners about AI and AI safety, what would that be, Jeffrey?
There's still a chance that we can figure out how to develop AI that won't want to take over from us. And because there's a chance, we should put enormous resources into trying to figure that out. Because if we don't, it's going to take over.
And are you hopeful?
I just don't know. I'm agnostic.
You must get in bed at night, and when you're thinking to yourself about probabilities of outcomes, there must be a bias in one direction, because there certainly is for me. I mean, imagine everyone listening now has a internal prediction that they might not say out loud, but of how they think it's going to play out.
I really don't know. I genuinely don't know. I think it's incredibly uncertain. When I'm feeling slightly depressed, I think people are toast. The AI is going to take over. When I'm feeling cheerful, I think we'll figure out a way.
Maybe one of the facets of being a human is because we've always been here, like we were saying about our loved ones and our relationships, we assume casually that we will always be here and we'll always figure everything out. But there's a beginning and an end to everything, as we saw from the dinosaurs. I mean,
yeah, and we have to face the possibility that unless we do something soon, when near the end.
We have a closing tradition on this podcast where the last guest leaves a question in the diary. And the question that they've left for you with everything that you see ahead of us, what is the biggest threat you see to human happiness?
I think the joblessness is a fairly urgent short-term threat to human happiness. I think if you make lots and lots of people unemployed, even if they get universal basic income, they're not going to be happy.
Because they need purpose.
Because they need purpose, yes.
And struggle.
They need to feel they're contributing something, they're useful.
And do you think that outcome, that there's going to be huge job displacement, is more probable than not?
Yes, I do.
And what's
that one I think is definitely more probable than not. If I worked in a call center, I'd be terrified.
So the time frame for that in terms of mass job
I think it's beginning to happen already. I read an article in The Atlantic recently that said it's already getting hard for university graduates to get jobs. And part of that may be that people are already using AI for the jobs they would have got.
I spoke to the CEO of a major company that everyone will know of, lots of people use, and he said to me in DMs that they used to have just over 7,000 employees. He said by last year they were down to, I think, 5,000. He said right now they have 3,600. And he said by the end of summer, because of AI agents, they'll be down to 3,000. So
it's happening already.
Yes. He's halved his workforce because AI agents can now handle 80% of the customer service inquiries and other things. So it's happening already.
Yeah.
So urgent action is needed.
Yeah.
I don't know what that urgent action is.
That's a tricky one because that depends very much on the political system. And political systems are all going in the wrong direction at present.
And what do we need to do? Save up money? Like, do we save money? Do we move to another part of the world?
I don't know.
What would you tell your kids to do? They said that there's going to be loads of just job displacement.
Because I worked for Google for 10 years, they have enough money.
Okay, fine.
So they're not typical.
What if they didn't have money?
Trained to be a plumber.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeffrey, thank you so much. You're the first Nobel Prize winner that I've ever had a conversation with, I think, in my life. So that's a tremendous honor. And you received that award for a lifetime of exceptional work in pushing the world forward in so many profound ways that will lead to great, and that have led to great advancements and things that matter so much to us. And now you've turned this season in your life to shining a light on some of your own work, but also on the broader risks of AI and how it might impact us adversely. And there's very few people that have worked inside the machine of a Google or a big tech company that have contributed to the field of AI that are now at the very forefront of warning us against the very thing that they worked upon.
But there are actually a surprising number of us now.
They're not as public, and they're actually quite hard to get to have these kinds of conversations because many of them are still in that industry. So, someone who tries to contact these people often and invites them to have conversations, they often are a little bit hesitant to speak openly. So they speak privately, but they're less willing to openly because maybe they still have some sort of incentives at play.
I have an advantage over them, which is I'm older, so I'm unemployed, so I can say what I am.
Well, there you go. So thank you for doing what you do. It's a real honor, and please do continue to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
People think I'm joking when I say that, but I'm not.
The plumbing thing.
Yeah. And plumbers are pretty well paid.
You ain't lying about that, but plumbers make money. Plumbers and electricians? Oh, that's where the money fields.
Oh my God.
World War III is upon us. If I put my music out before the world ends, that's crazy.
Trap. Trap. House. Entertainment.
When I can't sleep, I hit the studio and grab a brush. What's an hour? Dopamine flood, activate my superpowers. I'm blowing sour, rolling weed up, got a mean buzz. Creation such a deep rush, keeps me painted with a deep touch. Feel it in your soul, that's a deep cut. We must be the inspiration. for the next generation. Seize each occasion, teach the nation. Feed the wisdom to the children of the village that will raise and foster their imagination. Foster acceleration, circumvent incarceration of the body and the mind. Change your hustle, not your grind. Cause there might come a time when you have to push past the gatekeepers and all the haters. I bully my way in and destined for greatness. My concept amazing, my style go too crazy. It's on the throne and on my way, and I had to push past the gate.
I told you Wendy I did some video editing yesterday. Measles, try to say it one more time, bro. What the hell? He say, did you see shoot video you shot to Mid-Journey for these slips? Damn thumbs. Now for that one I used where's the program at? It's called CapCut. Why don't I see it right now? I got the app right here somewhere. Where is it at? Where are you at? There it goes. Oh, not CapCut, but InShot. You know what? No, I think you can only upload images. I don't think you can upload a video yet. Hold on. I don't know if I can. How do I I don't even see it in here anymore. Like, oh yeah, to be able to upload actual videos and then manipulate that. There's a bunch of other programs that let you do that, and then you can like retexture or change shit around in the video, but I don't know why I can't find the one I just made. Anyway, I use this program InShot. So when you so it actually leaves a little watermark right there at the bottom, made with InShot. Works pretty good. It did take me a minute to figure out like how to sync the voices though, but I don't know why it won't let me see my layers and everything that I just did from the last project. My last project should pop up. It's letting me see like some of my older stuff. But that shit is free. That little video editing software is free and it works pretty good. Yeah, I had to lip sync the song, bro. So the slide to get the slider for the music and the slider for the video is just kind of like got to figure out how to line that shit up. It took me a minute to get it right, and it's still off like by a fraction of a second. If you look really close, it's not perfect. So I can imagine like if I would have did it on a tablet or something bigger, or even if there's it is a mobile app, but if you could use a mouse or something to have a little more control than just trying to slide it with your fat fingers. But yeah, I had to manually so it's three different shots. It's the one shot of me sitting here in the chair. It's the one shot I did of the pan from the paint to the time on a computer. And then it's the one shot of me sitting on the floor right there by the table. And so just put the 3 videos in there. And then I downloaded my music and threw that in there as the audio track. And then, yeah, just trying to slide. Like I had to actually split and snip some of the video. And so I can slide that portion of it back and forth over the audio track. And then all you gotta do is just, like I say, lay the audio down and then slide the start point of the video where you want it to go. And yeah, then it's just lip sync. I said it's a little finicky, but it works pretty damn good. It took me still about an hour to do that shit. I'm like, why isn't this more easy? It is pretty easy. Like, yeah, I did it, so you know, if I can do that shit, then anybody can do that shit. Definitely easier with the mouse, yeah. Oh, you missed the video? It was just the little short clip of me sitting here. Just something for just content. Like I say, man, me and my buddy were having this conversation about do artists need to make extra content, you know, just to get people to stop and like take a few seconds to try to look at our art. And if you're not making like that extra content, then people aren't really paying you any attention. So I was like, all right, let me see if I can make a video for one of these songs. And that was the whole purpose of that shit, yo. I think I said that yesterday when I left the street, like I want to try something real quick. Because yesterday morning I was up so early. I was just like, yeah, I got some time. Let me see if I can just do this. And so I just recorded the videos. And then after the stream is when I actually edited. I said it took up some time yesterday, like an hour or so. Then I wound up taking a nap and what else? Nothing really. I need to hit the grocery store today to make sure. I'm gonna try to make some clam chowder. I've never done that before. I like clam chowder. I think I'm getting kind of bougie and I don't like shit out of cans as much. Canned goods are awesome. I got a bunch of canned goods. I eat a lot of shit out of cans or whatever, you know, it's the world we live in. But if I can like more and more, I'm trying to like make shit more from scratch, I guess. So can I go get a can of New England clam chowder? Yeah, but I think I want to try to make that shit myself. So that's one dish for our meal prep, and that's the only thing I have right now as to like, oh, I'm gonna do that. So now I'm trying to think of like, okay, one dish can be clam chowder, and the second dish can be I don't know what. I need some ideas. I need to think about what else I'm gonna cook today. Because last week was kind of short for me. I had jury duty on Monday, so I um, didn't go to work on Monday. And then we had Thursday off for Juneteenth. And so I didn't do a really huge meal prep because I just didn't have to pack lunches every day. But this week will be a normal full week, and I'm gonna need some lunch for every day this week. So I got to do at least 2 meal preps. I normally do 3. If I can figure out 2 nice dishes for this week, figure out one more because I'm definitely doing clam chowder. It's gonna be clam chowder and something else. Okay. If it's made well, yeah, because that's the whole key right there, bro. Don't fuck up my favorite dish, motherfucker. Damn, I love me some clam chowder. Let me taste that. Oh, this shit is horrible. Horrible. That ain't it. Don't fuck up my favorite dish now. Because I too enjoy a good hearty soup or chowder. Like you say, if that shit tastes good, I'm all in there. You can fuck that shit up so easy. I'm trying. I'm not looking for anything amazing this first go around. Every time I cook something the first time, it's a trial period. I'm trying to see how this thing supposed to work. Now, if it comes out delicious, I'm great, fantastic. If it don't come out too great, I'll be like, all right, well, you got to try that shit different the next time. If I can't get it right the second time, I ain't gonna plan on cooking that no more. I keep fucking this dish up, I'm good. Now, if that ain't a damn good husband, what the hell? I don't like that shit, but I'll make it because she like it. This motherfucker trying to be exemplary. never miss my little short video.
House. Entertainment. When I can't sleep, I hit the studio and grab a brush. With an hour. Dopamine flood, activate my superpowers. I'm blowing sour, rolling weed up, got a mean buzz. Creation such a deep rush, keeps me bending with a deep touch. Feel it in your soul, that's a deep cut. We must be the inspiration for the next generation. Seize each occasion, teach the nation. Leave the wisdom to the children of the village that were raised in Gloucester. Their imagination, foster acceleration, circumvent incarceration of the body and the mind. Change your hustle, not your grind. Cause there might come a time when you have to push past the gatekeepers and all the haters. I bully my way in and destined for greatness. My concept amazing, my style go too crazy. Cause on the throne and on my way in, I had to push past the gate.
I was gonna do the whole song, but I was like, nah. I ain't do that. I just did the first verse in the hook. But then when I posted, I told people, hey man, go download my album Art and Education. Go cop that shit now, son.
Came in this weekend, we moved.
I don't know what makes the TikTok numbers work, but my last TikTok video got over 1,000 views. The one before that only got 67, and then this one, that looks like 30. Or is that 300? No, that says 32. So the video only got 32 views on TikTok. It's more than none. I mean, hey, 32 people saw that shit. I think I was thinking about putting it on YouTube as a short. Can we do that right now? Hit the plus button. And then go to, I guess, go to upload a short. Add something from the phone. I can just add this right here.
Trap. House.
It's processing.
Entertainment.
Okay, and then so do I add? Is this text going to be on the screen? So I can add text to the screen. Should I do that? I don't think so. Or let me see.
House. Entertainment.
It stays on there the whole time now.
When I can't sleep, I hit the studio and grab a brush.
If I make it small and keep it in the corner.
I'm blowing sour, rolling weed up, got a mean buzz. Creation such a deep rush, keeps me bending with a deep touch. Feel it in your soul, that's a deep cut. We must be the inspiration for the next generation.
Okay, next. Now it's processing. And then I guess it'll ask me to like say something about this video. Just watch the video, motherfucker. Okay, caption your short. And I just been saying download the album on your favorite music platform. Download art and education. Hashtag write a shorter caption. Oh damn. Okay, I guess that's it. Boom, it's on YouTube. Yeah, her blaze got that sheen to it. Mhm. It's on YouTube, guys.
Chat.
All right. We've been here too long. Oh, this is all AI. This is wow, bro. None of that shit ain't real, yo. God dang. What the fuck, dude? Damn. I mean, there's already several short films out right now, but I can imagine like by next summer, yo, there's gonna be like a 30-minute movie or an hour-long AI-generated movie, yo. Nah, this shit right here looks insane. What the fuck? Oh man, I gotta get something else to eat. I feel like my breakfast wasn't enough. Oh yeah, most of it is done. I'm gonna do around the nape of her neck, and then there's this one bit of hair. I don't know if that's solid black. No, that's not. So here's a little bit of details here, and then yeah, the hair will be done for the most part. Then I may, since I'm in black, I might do mom's glasses next, so I have to change colors. Oh boy. Uh-oh. All right, guys. Let me wrap it up. For a little minute. Took almost 3 hours. Got most of the hair done. Like I said, there's just a little bit here behind her that flows down behind her back. Add some highlights to that, and then we'll do glasses. Yo, it's already almost 3 hours. That fast. I just need to take a little break real quick. I am determined to at least finish that hair today. That's gonna get done today. Period. We're gonna finish that. It's not a lot of highlights on there, but you can see how that piece that just flows. And then the braids are loose at the end. They're not braided all the way to the tip. So they just have like a wee bit of highlights in there. So we do that. And then mom glasses are almost totally black. A little highlights on the rim, on the edge of the rims. And then we'll try to do her glasses, which are clear, but they're technically a gray tone. And so that'll be our next session today. Is we'll try to finish hair and at least do glasses. And then that will and that earring, and that will be a first detailed layer for the entire painting. That's what I'm trying to get done, yo. If we can get this first detailed layer done today, then tomorrow we can start focusing on wrapping this piece up. Because everything else should be dry. Like I say, mom's skin tone, there's just a few highlights I want to put in there. Her shirt, I ain't gonna lie, yo, mom's shirt is, I think that's done, yo. I might not even worry about the shirt. The sweater definitely has some more contrast I want to add to the sweater. And the next big part, again, will be this jacket. I don't want to paint the whole thing over. So we're really going to try to see what parts need highlights the most. And that should take us the rest of the week. Her jacket should probably take us the rest of the week. And then next weekend, we can come back and finish detailing the hair. Because I think I can one-shot the glasses. Mom's shirt is done. So really, we'll just have to double back on the sweater, the jacket, and the hair. Skin tones, I say there's a little bit, mostly in the hand. I want to get a little more contrast in the hand, but other than that, I think this first detail layer really did us a lot of justice. So the subsequent layers shouldn't be too difficult to work our way through. Hopefully. I say that jacket, we may have to repaint that whole motherfucking jacket, but we'll see. We'll try not to paint the whole jacket. If we have to, we have to. Now they're both pretty women. Mom is really pretty, daughter is really pretty. Then they have that nice contrast in skin tones from that, that really fair skin to that nice brown skin tone. Like it really reminds me of this piece. I need more brown skinned people because they're light skinned, she's light skinned, she's light skinned. I gotta get more brown skinned models. People like my complexion. I like my skin complexion. All right. Oh, when I come back too, got the new camera. I need to get this set up and put this outside so motherfuckers will stop taking shit off my goddamn porch. Goddamn porch pirates. All right, guys. Sure appreciate y'all hanging out with me this morning. I'm still a little bit hungry. And like I say, I'll be back in a couple hours. Hope your day is going splendid. If it is a big Sunday, so I know it's normally family day. If I don't see you guys in the next stream, I hope the rest of your day goes well, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. We're out of here.